So, what if destiny chose you to lead? Imagine this. You're handed this huge, overwhelming responsibility, something you never asked for, something you're not even sure you want. What do? I mean, really? Do you run from it? Or do you decide to rise to the occasion?
Hey, book lovers! Welcome back to another high-speed book summary from all of us here at SummaryPedia. You know the drill. We're here to bring you more amazing titles in way less time. All right, let's dive in. In this episode, we're digging into the powerful, super practical lessons from The Boy Who Would Be King by the one and only Ryan Holiday. It's this incredible, timeless story about a young guy who was destined for greatness. But here's the catch. He first had to figure out how to actually be great. Okay, so let's start with something that might surprise you. You'd think every kid dreams of being a king, right? All that power, all that glory, but not the young Marcus Aurelius. Nope, he wanted nothing to do with it. Seriously, when destiny came knocking, his first thought wasn't awesome, it was this crushing feeling, the weight of a burden he absolutely did not ask for. And it's actually his mother who gives him this first game-changing piece of advice. It's pretty much the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. She says, look, the gods choose things for us. All we can choose is how we respond. Think about that. We can't control what life throws at us, but we always have control over how we react. The real power, it's not in changing your fate. It's in choosing how you're going to face it.
But even with that wisdom, Marcus is still hesitating. And you can kind of see why, right? So that's when his teacher, a guy named Rusticus, steps in. He literally finds the future emperor of Rome hiding under the covers in bed. And he hits him with this incredible question, basically saying, is this it? Is this what you were put here for? To hide? Whoa, that's the moment that changes everything. It's the real start of his education. And listen, this education he's about to get, it's not about how to give orders or, what kind of crown to wear. Not at all. It's about something so much deeper. See, Rusticus got it. He knew that before you can build an emperor, you first have to build a man of real wisdom and solid character.
So where does Rusticus start? Well, maybe in a place you wouldn't expect, with books. He tells Marcus that reading is basically a superpower. Think about it. You can learn from the biggest wins and the toughest struggles of all the great minds in history, and you get to do it without having to go through all the pain they went through. It's like a cheat code for wisdom. But here's the thing. Books were just the starting line. Rusticus made it clear that a real education comes from, well, everywhere. You gotta read for sure, but you also have to get out there, observe the world, watch how leaders speak, talk to older, wiser people, learn from your friends, heck, even learn from your enemies. Because, and I love this quote from Rusticus, everyone is better than us at something. So true. And all of this training, all these lessons, they all lead to this one big central idea. And it's a little counterintuitive. It's this. If you want to rule an entire empire, you first have to learn how to rule yourself. Before you can even think about commanding armies, you've got to be able to command your own impulses, your own emotions, your own thoughts. And this really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? On one hand, we have this idea that a king can just do whatever he wants, no questions asked. But what this book teaches us is that a true ruler, a good one, understands that power is actually a responsibility. Real freedom isn't just doing whatever you feel like in the moment. It's having the discipline to do what you know is right. And this idea is hammered home by another amazing piece of advice from his mother. She told him, never let yourself be heard complaining, not even to yourselves. Wow. I mean, think about that. Self-mastery isn't just about what you do on the outside, it's about your inner world. If you can conquer complaining, even just inside your own head, you're building a mind that's tough, focused, and ready for pretty much anything. So, the big question is, did any of this actually stick? How did all this education work out when Marcus finally became emperor? Well, he didn't just talk the talk, he walked the walk. He didn't just think about philosophy, he lived it. And you can pretty much see his entire time as emperor as this practical guide built on the 4 big Stoic virtues. Let's take justice, for example. His sense of justice was legendary. I mean, this is a guy who sold off his own palace jewels just to feed the poor. He gave gladiators wooden swords so they wouldn't have to kill each other for entertainment. He made sure the law applied to everyone, including himself. That showed everyone what true justice was all about, fairness and compassion for every single person.
Then there's discipline. He lived it every single day. We're talking about small things, like counting the alphabet to himself to control his temper, but also huge things, like making the incredibly tough calls needed to guide Rome through a devastating pandemic. He always, always chose the right path, even when it was the hardest one.
And his wisdom? It was so clear in how humble he was. Get this. Instead of hoarding all the power for himself, he actually made his brother a co-emperor. Nobody had ever done that before. And he never, ever stopped being a student. Even as an old man, literally the most powerful man on the planet, he would still go to classes because he was always eager to learn what he didn't yet know.
And finally, let's talk about courage. And yeah, sure, this was about leading armies into battle. He definitely did that. But it was also so much more. It was the moral courage to handle political threats and attempted coups peacefully. And maybe most importantly, it was the courage to just face the music, to accept that massive responsibility he never even wanted, and to do it with his head held high.
So who's the person bringing this ancient story to life for all of us today? Well, that would be Ryan Holiday. He's a writer who has pretty much dedicated his entire career to taking this ancient wisdom and making it super practical for our modern lives.
And Holiday is no small deal. He's really become one of the world's leading voices on Stoicism. You've probably heard of his bestsellers like The Obstacle is the Way or Stillness is the Key. His books have sold millions and millions of copies and have helped so many people apply these old school principles to their modern problems. He's really the perfect person to tell the story.
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground here. So let's wrap things up and boil it all down to the most important lessons you can take away from this amazing story. So what are the big takeaways? Number 1, responsibility isn't about what happens to you, it's about how you respond. Number 2, a true education is a mix of reading, observing, and learning from everyone around you. It never stops. Number 3, self-mastery is the absolute foundation of any real leadership. And finally, number 4, try to live your life guided by those 4 virtues: justice, discipline, wisdom, and courage. And that really brings us to the final question the book leaves hanging in the air. A question that's not just for Marcus Aurelius, but for every single one of us. The book says, destiny selects each person for something. You have a role to play, a challenge to meet, a responsibility to shoulder. So the only real question left is, are you going to hide under the covers, or are you going to choose to accept it? Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you got something out of this, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and of course subscribe for more high-speed book summaries from us here at SummaryPedia.